Alright, gentlemen, lean in for a second because what I'm about to share with you is the real truth about why younger women are drawn toward older men. Not the Instagram-filtered fantasy, not the cliché sugar daddy stereotype, but the deep, psychological reality that most men, especially older men, often fail to fully understand. And trust me, once you hear this, you're going to see your age not as something to hide or feel insecure about, but as one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. It's a weapon, a badge of honor, and something that should be embraced fully. Now, before I go any further, let's address the elephant in the room. The red lipstick is back and, yes, it's here to stay. It's kind of my signature now. But more importantly, the largest group of men subscribed to my channel are between the ages of 40 and 55. Naturally, I felt I owed it to you to share my honest perspective as a woman in my late 30s who's always been drawn to older men about exactly why that attraction happens and, more importantly, how you can capitalize on it in a way that feels authentic, powerful, and well, very, very masculine. If you're new here, I'm Amelia, and this is Dark Facts 2.0. Hit that like button if you're ready to embrace your age with confidence and turn it into an advantage that most men never even think about using. Here's something you need to understand right away: an older man is only attractive to a younger woman when he matches her fantasy. Now, when I say fantasy, I'm not talking about unrealistic movie scenes or wild 50 Shades style scenarios. I'm talking about the image younger women naturally carry in their minds when they think of an older man. They envision a man who's more confident, more assertive, more grounded, someone with wisdom that goes beyond what men their own age can offer. And the key here, if you want her to be drawn to you, is to embody that image instead of accidentally sabotaging it. The first thing that makes an older man attractive to a younger woman is the fact that he's not pretending to be a younger man. We've all seen the guys who try. They overcompensate by using every trending slang word, dressing like a 22-year-old TikToker, and trying to prove they know every single pop culture reference. And honestly, it comes across the same way it does when that one high school teacher tries way too hard to be the cool teacher. It's awkward, it's forced, and instead of making you seem young, it makes you seem like you're trying. And trying, my friends, is never sexy. Quick question for you, and be honest. Have you ever caught yourself trying to fit in with younger crowds by pretending to be into things you actually couldn't care less about? Drop me a yes in the comments if you've been there. Because almost every man over 40 has done it at some point. Here's why this is such a turnoff for younger women. If she wanted a guy her own age who spoke like her, dressed like her, and acted like her, she'd date a guy her own age. But she doesn't. She's looking for something different. She's looking for someone who offers more wisdom, more experience, and a deeper connection. She's drawn to your life experience, the fact that you've been through storms and come out the other side with a calmness that comes from surviving them. So, instead of chasing hip trends to fit into her world, invite her into yours. Show her experiences she's never had. Give her perspectives she's never considered. Share stories from a time before she was born. Because when you own your age unapologetically, it creates an irresistible contrast. It tells her, I'm not competing with younger men because I'm playing a completely different game. And trust me, that's exactly what she wants to feel when she's with you now. Here's something a lot of men don't fully understand. A lot of men think that a younger woman's interest in an older man must be about money. I hear this all the time in my comments. Oh, Amelia, come on. It's just about the money. If you didn't have resources, she wouldn't even look twice. But that's just not true. In fact, that mindset is one of the biggest self-sabotaging beliefs an older man can carry. Because the moment you believe your only value is financial, you start giving off an I'm buying your attention energy, and that will attract the wrong kind of woman. Let me give you a quick example. Years ago, I dated a younger man. On paper, he was impressive. Worked for Tesla, back when that was a huge flex. Drove an expensive car. But here's the catch. Outside of that, he was still dressing up in fuzzy costumes, going to raves in the desert, and dropping who knows what kind of substances. It was chaotic, immature, and honestly exhausting. No amount of money made it attractive. That's why I roll my eyes when someone tries to tell me younger women only care about cash. No, they care about how you make them feel. Money might open a door, but your character is what keeps it from slamming shut. So, let's say a woman teases you and says, "You're old enough to be my dad." Now, you have a choice in that moment. If you laugh awkwardly and throw out a cheesy line like, "Baby, I'm like fine wine. I get better with age," you might think you're being smooth. But what you're really doing is showing her that you feel the need to defend yourself. And defensiveness is an attraction killer. Instead, picture this. She makes the same cheeky comment, but you lean back, keep that calm, unshaken smile, and say, "It's not about my age. Honey, the real question is whether you're mature enough to be with me." Boom, silence. No comeback. You just turned her playful jab into a moment where you're in control. Here's why that works so well. Women test men all the time not because they're evil, but because subconsciously they want to feel a man's emotional stability. When you don't flinch, when you don't overcompensate, when you can turn her tease into a confident reversal, you're showing her you're unshakable, and that's what makes you stand out from younger guys, who often either get defensive or try to prove they're older and cooler. By the way, if you've ever had a woman throw a cheeky comment about your age at you, I want to know your best. Come back. Drop it in the comments. Let's see who's got the smoothest line. Remember, you're not trying to be one of the cool kids again. You've already lived through that phase. Your value isn't in how trendy you are. It's in the depth, the standards, and the experiences you've built. And the moment you stop trying to look young, you actually become far more attractive. Now, this one's a big deal. One of the most magnetic qualities older men have when they truly lean into it is that they know how to handle women. And no, I don't just mean buying flowers or holding the door open. I mean knowing how to navigate a woman's emotions without losing your balance. See, younger guys, bless them, are often still figuring women out. They take things personally. They get flustered during mood swings. They assume a bad day means she's not into them anymore. But an older man, he's been through enough storms to know when a woman's just having an emotional moment and when it's actually about him. He can ride the wave instead of getting swallowed by it. Let's be real. Most older men have been through at least one intense relationship, maybe even a divorce. Some have dealt with the emotional roller coaster of a partner going through stress, grief, or even mental health struggles. And here's the difference. A man who's been through that and come out the other side has a level of calm confidence that's almost impossible to fake. You don't get rattled over little things. You've learned when to talk, when to listen, and when to just put your arm around her and let the moment pass. In my coaching, I see this all the time. Men who've been through heartbreak or therapy often come back into dating with crystal clarity. They're no longer guessing what they want. They know. They've read the books, had the uncomfortable conversations, maybe even hired someone like me to challenge their patterns. And that's incredibly attractive to women because when you know yourself, you can handle her without making it all about your ego. Now, don't get me wrong. Older men aren't endlessly tolerant of bad behavior. Most have zero interest in dating a drama queen. But here's the beauty. You can tell the difference between a woman having a human moment and a woman being toxic. And when you meet a quality woman, you have the patience to work through the bumps without panicking or bolting at the first sign of conflict. Oh, and here's a fun fact that might surprise you. Lower testosterone levels as men age can actually work in your favor when it comes to emotional patience. That doesn't mean you're not masculine. It means you're less reactive, less quick to anger, and more capable of staying calm in heated moments. In other words, you're not bristling at every disagreement. You're thinking it through, and trust me, that emotional composure is a huge turn now. Let's dive deeper into the true reasons younger women are drawn to older men. Beyond just the basic surface-level assumptions people often make, I want to add some more layers to this understanding and really help you grasp why this dynamic can be one of the most powerful connections that can happen. So, let's break this down, step by step. One of the first things you need to understand, and I mean really understand, is that a woman in her 20s and 30s is often looking for something different in a partner than she would with someone her own age. It's easy to look at these relationships and assume that a younger woman is merely seeking financial security, a sugar daddy, or just an older man for novelty. But that's a gross oversimplification. In fact, most women find themselves turned off by that exact dynamic. Women are looking for substance, not just status or a bank account. What they want is the experience, the security, and the stability that older men bring, not just in terms of finances, but in terms of life perspective, confidence, and emotional maturity. The depth of life experience. Older men have lived through various experiences that have shaped them. They've traveled, worked different jobs, maybe even failed at certain things, and come out on the other side better for it. They've experienced what it's like to fail and to learn from it. They've experienced loss, heartbreak, and struggle. And they've learned that life isn't always a straight path to success sometimes. It's more about the journey than the destination. A younger woman wants someone who can offer her wisdom that she doesn't have. Someone who can guide her through her own journey with a steady hand. This ability to offer valuable insights into life, relationships, and personal growth is what attracts younger women. This doesn't mean that you have to give unsolicited advice all the time. In fact, that's a huge turnoff. But it does mean that you bring something to the table that younger men cannot, a depth of wisdom that can help her grow. And women are constantly seeking ways to better themselves, whether it's professionally or personally. The confidence that comes from age. Another attractive feature of older men is the confidence that comes naturally with age. A man who's in his 40s or 50s is typically far more comfortable in his own skin than a younger man. He's been through enough to know who he is, what he wants, and how to get it. This kind of quiet self-assurance can be magnetic. You're not trying to prove anything to anyone. You're comfortable in your own skin, and that sense of calm is incredibly attractive. Younger men, on the other hand, are often still in the phase of proving themselves. They're trying to fit into social circles, impress women, build their careers, and still figuring out who they are. They're testing the waters. But an older man, he's been there, done that, and he's no longer insecure about his place in the world. That doesn't mean that confidence isn't something that needs nurturing. But a man who's worked hard to build his life, his career, and his identity doesn't need to show off or force things to happen. Stability and emotional intelligence. This is where older men often shine the most. Younger guys, while they have good energy and enthusiasm, tend to lack the emotional maturity needed for deep, fulfilling relationships. They tend to be reactive, driven by impulses, and easily flustered when things don't go according to plan. On the other hand, older men bring something incredibly valuable to the table: emotional stability. They've learned how to stay calm during stressful moments. They've learned how to talk through disagreements rather than retreating or getting defensive. They understand that sometimes, the best way to respond to a difficult moment is simply to listen, stay calm, and offer a sense of reassurance. They know when to take the lead and when to back off and give their partner space. Women appreciate this because, deep down, they are constantly seeking someone who can keep things grounded. They want a man who won't freak out when the relationship hits a rough patch, but rather, someone who can handle the storm. This emotional intelligence makes older men incredibly attractive, because it gives a sense of safety. The idea that no matter what life throws at them, they have the emotional maturity to handle it together. Attraction through action, not words. Now, let's talk about a very important thing: how actions speak louder than words. What makes older men stand out from younger men is their ability to show rather than tell. Younger guys might try to impress with flashy words or smooth lines, but older men, they let their actions do the talking. And those actions are grounded in life experience and true self-assurance. An older man says something, he's likely been through enough to mean it. His words aren't empty promises, but reflections of his character. Younger men, on the other hand, are still learning the difference between what they say and what they do. When you're older, you've had enough time to figure out that actions are what create trust and security. You don't need to tell a woman you're trustworthy. You just show her through your actions. And let's not forget that patience is a key element here. Many younger men are more impulsive and expect instant gratification. Older men, however, understand the importance of pacing things and letting them develop naturally. They know when to pull back and give a woman space, and when to push forward and take the lead. They've mastered the art of tension and release, which makes their presence incredibly magnetic. Living a life of purpose. Older men tend to have a clearer vision of their life's purpose. They've seen the highs and lows and have come out with a sense of what truly matters. This is incredibly attractive to women, because a man who knows what he wants and where he's headed is much more appealing than someone who is still figuring things out. Women in their 30s and 40s have often been through enough experiences to realize that life is about more than just fleeting pleasures. They want someone who shares their values and who can offer them the emotional depth and security they desire. This sense of purpose creates an alignment between you and your partner. When both of you are at a point in life where you're clear about what you want and what you're building toward, the relationship becomes more meaningful and fulfilling. And that's something younger men may not yet fully grasp. They're still figuring out what they want from life, let alone what they want from a relationship. The shift towards substance over surface. As men age, they also tend to shift their focus away from the superficial aspects of dating and relationships. They no longer feel the need to impress with material possessions or flashy gestures. Instead, They focus on the deeper connections that can be built through shared experiences, emotional support, and mutual respect. They've learned the importance of emotional intimacy over physical attraction. And that's exactly what many younger women are seeking. Women in their 30s and 40s are looking for a deeper, more meaningful connection that transcends the things. They want to know that the man they're with truly understands them, not just in terms of what they say, but on a deeper level emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. And that's where older men truly excel. I could continue, but I think you get the point. Age isn't just a number, it's a toolband for older men. It's one that carries the power of experience, confidence, and wisdom. These are the qualities that are truly attractive to younger women. So, embrace it, and start using your age to your advantage. Ready for more tips and tricks? Stay tuned for the next video. It's time to shift your mindset and get even more magnetic.